So, my name is Myra. My story is a rather long one. Essentially, I'm a naturopath and already very knowledgeable in the area of health and medicine and what have you. My journey started in 2017 when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. At the time, I was healthy, fit, running every week. I felt great. So I sort of was like, yeah, okay, fine. It didn't mean anything to me. Then in 2020, and I didn't want to take the medications, by the way. I didn't want to be on thyroid medication because I was like, yeah, I don't want to disrupt my body's natural production. But then no one spoke to me about diet or nutrition change or anything, which was a massive problem because I had no idea that this was caused by that. So at the time, I wasn't a naturopath. I wasn't trained in this area. And then in 2020, my hair started falling out. Now, I had very thick, long, healthy hair. You might think I still do, and I guess I do in the scheme of things, but I'm talking like it was twice as thick as it is now and was very healthy. And I was a little bit like, okay, is this aging? Is it my thyroid? Like, what's going on? Then in 2022, I had an episode where one night I just couldn't breathe. Like I was gasping for air and having a panic attack, and there was no reason for it. Nothing. I was calm. There was nothing going on that day. I was not stressed. It sort of came out of nowhere. And this got me really going, okay, I need to look into what's going on because things are changing in my body. From then, I really got into nutrition and diet. I'd already been kind of getting into it for years, but I really started to dig in at that point and get trained as a naturopath and like look into things. I had my thyroid tested and my antibodies were very high, like 500, I think, for both of them in that range. And I definitely had I had subclinical hypothyroidism. So I wasn't really that hypothyroid, but I did have hyperthyroidism. So I thought, okay, this must be the problem. From there, I went on to all kinds of diet. I tried every diet. I tried carnivore, I tried keto, I tried healthy keto, I tried Dr. Gundry's diet. I mean, I just went on a whole holy grail search to try to find out what's going on and heal my body. And I managed from that I had my ups and downs, and I had things that definitely did not work, and I had things that worked. I even tried vegan and raw vegan and everything. I managed to get my antibodies down and heal a lot. And by the way, during this time, I started to, because I was looking at biohackers and medical stuff and functional medicine doctors, I've been following Dr. Minkoff I started following him at that time and using his data in my practice and when I help with people. And then on top of it, Gary Brecka, Dr. Berg, all these fabulous people who share a lot in this space. So I was trying a lot of things and trying to tweak things and chasing symptoms, basically. And in 2023, that's when things really took a bad turn for me. Like nothing really handled the situation, or I just wasn't handling. And it was like I would get better. My thyroid was better, but it was still like, oh, why don't I feel right? I don't feel right still. And then 2023, one day I had a very stressful time period because I also do bookkeeping. So I was up around the clock during that season for taxes, and it was a crazy few months. And I physically had a literal breakdown. Like I really was like, wow, that put way too much stress on my body, and I was not feeling well. I wasn't eating right during that time, not sleeping. And then I think it was around late March, I had my first tachycardia episode. I was sitting in a restaurant with some friends. Nothing was wrong. I'd finally gotten sleep like 2 weeks before, and I was starting to get my schedule back in, my diet back in, and suddenly out of nowhere, I had like my heart just started racing, and I was like, what is going on? And I just stood up to leave the restaurant, and it went off, and I was very like alarmed, but I was like, okay, I got to get that checked out. And I was just about to leave. I was just about to fly to Dubai for a business cycle, so I couldn't actually go see a doctor right then and there. I was also traveling between the US and the UK a lot because I'm actually now living in England with my husband. So it was hard for me to investigate what was going on and get treatment. I then went to Dubai, and whilst I was in Dubai, about a week before I was due to fly home to England, this was now in April, I had a massive tachycardia episode. At first thing in the morning, I woke up, I opened my eyes. I was in bed. I think I sat up or something. And boom, my heart took off and it went up to like 180. And it was like, what? Like, I thought, is my blood sugar low? Like, what's going on? So I had to take a cab to go to the hospital, brought myself to the emergency room. I walked in and they put me into critical care because by then my heart was like 220. It was terrifying. And they checked me out and basically said, there's nothing wrong. And I was like, well, something's wrong. But they couldn't find anything wrong. My thyroid was fine. My thyroid levels were fine. There was no irregular, I didn't have AFib. They were like, well, we don't know what's wrong, but you're fine, basically. And I was like, okay, I'm not fine. How could there be no explanation for this? So then I went home to the UK. I managed to finally get an appointment because I kept bouncing back and forth, like I said. I went and got a bunch of testing done, and apparently on paper, I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong. So it was very frustrating, because I couldn't pinpoint what was going on. Then finally I saw a cardiologist in March. I finally got an appointment in because also you have to book way out and travel and everything else. And essentially I was told that I have a dual pathway in my AV node. I was born with it. There's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is beta blockers or get surgery to basically burn that part of the heart so that you won't have these episodes. And I was like, well, that doesn't fly for me. Like, why did I never have an episode before? What is triggering it? What's going on? Why am I so fatigued? Why are all these other things happening? My hair is falling out. I'm weak. I'm out of breath easily. I have no energy, but my thyroid hormones are fine. Like, I don't understand. Anyhow, to fast forward, the tachycardia episodes kept getting worse. And then in 2025, this year, I ended up in the ER at least 10 times this year. In September, I had 7 episodes back to back over the period of 4 days. And at that point, I was absolutely desperate. I'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars on other naturopaths, other doctors, cardiologists, gastrointestinal doctors, ER visits. I mean, it was just crazy how much money I was spending with no answers. And of course, I'm trying to apply all the knowledge I know on diet and supplements. I was already eating whole foods only. We got rid of all of our toxic pans. We got like all of our plastics we got rid of. I mean, I spent so much money trying to handle and get toxins out of my environment and everything else. And it wasn't handling, and I was getting sicker. And I was like, this makes no sense. So then a friend of mine, my last episode, I was like, I have got to do something. And luckily or not luckily, unfortunately, I had another friend who was also having major episodes. And I have mutual friends with Dr. Minkoff, a lot of them. And my sister knows him, and my sister's best friend went to see him, and he saved her life. And then I have another friend who has POTS. I don't have POTS, but she has POTS, and she was having massive episodes, like couldn't even get up to do laundry, like could not move, like worse than me. And she came here and found that she basically had an infected tooth, and there was all like got to the root of what was going on in a big way for her. And she told me about this. I was like, I need to check this out. I didn't realize, even though I'd been following Dr. Minkoff, I didn't realize he had a practice. Like I never thought to connect that dot. So I was like, okay, this is my last resort. I know he's one of the top functional medicine doctors in the world. I even looked for similar practices in England because that's where I live. And it was going to be literally 3 times the cost to do it in England. And I went to, there's another place in Germany, which is also very prestigious and does functional medicine stuff. Again, it was going to be way more expensive. Plus, I know Dr. Minkoff and I trust him. So I was like, okay, I already know him. I already trust him. Yes, it's a haul to come all the way from England. It's going to cost me a lot of money to do that. But in the end, basically, in retrospect, had I just come here first, I would have saved myself like so much time and so much money and so much stress and so much heartbreak trying to figure out what was going on. When all was said and done, it's actually really simple, but like, oh my God, right? I basically had, like, first of all, their testing is worth the trip in itself. If I had just done the testing, that would have been great because it exposed exactly where I was nutrition. Like I had deficiencies in amino acids. I had deficiencies and problems with my absorption. So I'm eating we're spending so much money on organic, clean. We have an amazing biodynamic farm right next to us. We're so lucky. But I wasn't absorbing because I actually had a problem with enzymes, and I never thought of that. And I was taking enzymes, but it turns out I needed pancreatic enzymes specifically. So I was taking other enzymes, but they weren't handling the problem. So it kind of actually helps me to really pinpoint in, instead of just like throwing supplements at things or just throwing things at the problem that might handle it. You know what I mean? And it helped me to not be so tunnel vision. So a lot of this time I was looking at, okay, is it my thyroid? And we kept hitting the thyroid, because that's the one thing I knew was wrong. And it wasn't handling. And after I got my test done, I realized you can get so sucked into tunnel vision and trying to handle one out point with your body or one problem with your body that you miss the whole picture. You miss what's behind it. You miss why it's a situation. And now an example of this, I have another friend or friend and patient or person who's come to me for help who was having horrible gallbladder problems. And I sent her here, we got her tested, and lo and behold, the gallbladder was not the problem. So we're doing all these handlings on her gallbladder, the normal handle things that you do for a gallbladder. That wasn't the problem. The problem was her plastics were out the roof. Her metals were out the roof. Like she had toxic overload. So of course, everything goes through your liver and your gallbladder. So of course she's having gallbladder problems. And the similar thing was for me. I found that ironically, despite a clean diet, I was actually very high in lead. I was very high in thallium. And if you know what these things do to your body, they completely explain tachycardia, muscle fatigue, being winded, having panic attacks where you can't breathe. That's what these metals cause. And I was like, well, that makes sense. They cause dysautonomia. So I was so mind blown that every one of my symptoms was described by exactly what came up in my tests, and they correlated completely. And also lead, I've been subclinical anemia my whole life. Well, lead actually interferes with the production of your red blood cells. Lead interferes with the production of your enzymes. Metals cause constant inflammation in the gut. So this explained a lot. On top of it, so I did my own research. Okay, how could I possibly have all these metals? Okay, well, mind blown, leafy greens. Like organic leafy greens are actually very high, even organic, because the soil is so mineral rich. They're very high, especially kale and spinach, which I actually don't do a lot of, but arugula or rocket, depending on where you live, that is very high in metals. Leafy greens, spring mix, I eat that definitely. Mushrooms are very high in metals. I never realized this. So I was basically plugging in everything I was eating and finding out how I could be exposed to this, because we have a reverse osmosis water filter. So it's not water. It really isn't even makeup, because I use very clean makeup and I don't wear it every day at all. And it's not my pots and pans really. So it was definitely revealing to me what was actually causing all my problems and what was causing my inflammation. I also came up with high levels of mold, specifically in my sinuses. And I've had a little bit of sinus irritation for most of my life. So that was like, okay, now I understand why. There was a lot of things that it explained that I hadn't put a lot of attention on, because it's just like I was so used to it being that way that I didn't even really think about it. It took me getting really sick to even, get tested and find out what was going on. But that definitely was revealing. And I also was exposed to mold when I was in Dubai, so I'm not totally surprised about that one. And it was also validating because it showed where I'm very strong. So my omega-3 and omega-6 ratio is excellent. My metab overall is very good. So it also acknowledged and confirmed for me that what I have been doing has been working. So that was nice too, because then you're not just shooting in the dark and spinning your wheels trying to figure out what was going on. So all in all, the main thing that I took away from this is tests. And I'm so grateful for the thoroughness of the testing here. So grateful for that, because there's tests that I got here that I hadn't even heard of, and I'm definitely going to be using them from now on. And then just the intensity of the detox and the treatments and how methodical they are and how intelligent they are in terms of the approach. And it's not something you can just get anywhere. I'm very grateful for the fact that you guys have like cocoon oxygen baths, because I know how amazing they are. For example, I've known about it for years. And the fact that this is such a an all-embracing natural treatment, it's very sophisticated, it's very state-of-the-art, and very top-notch. I made so many friends here, and the staff are all lovely, and I had so much help, and the supplements are very intelligent and very good quality. And I'm one of these nitpickers who will go through a supplement. Like, I am very, I read everything, I look at everything. So I really appreciate quality on that immensely. It's very important to me, because you can be supplementing and end up accidentally intoxicating yourself, if you will, depending on what supplements you're using. Which is another thing, by the way. On that note, turmeric is high in metals. I was definitely doing turmeric. So depending on where you're getting your turmeric sourced from, it can be a problem. And dark chocolate. I do dark chocolate with stevia in it. And I was like, okay, yeah. I knew about dark chocolate. I suspected it when I got my metals back, but it was just another datum. So you can eat super, super, super clean and still be having problems. This other person that I mentioned to as a client, she was also was being completely clean and being organic and everything else. And it turns out a lot of her toxins that was discovered here at LifeWorks, when we looked at her lifestyle, she was getting bombarded by her job. So the environment she was in at work, she was around a lot of new clothes. She was around a lot of perfume. She didn't personally use or wear these things. She was just being exposed to it regularly. And if she was inside all day, surrounded by these toxins in the air. So it's been so revealing, and as scary as it is, this is such a massive relief to finally understand and finally have that light bulb go off of okay, I get it now. And I've been all over the place, up and down. It's been so hard on me just the stress alone between finance and the stress of not understanding what's going on and putting all your money and all your time and all attention and trying to handle, and it's not resolving. And after the first day of treatment here, within the first day, after one day, I was like, this is it. I felt really good. And yes, I still have detox happening. I mean, it's 2 weeks now that I've been having treatment, and I definitely know I'm not there yet. But after the first day, I felt really good. By the third day, I was able to go up the stairs I actually had the energy to go upstairs. Now, that was a very big problem for me before. I could not climb stairs. I had to stop constantly. My heart rate would go up. My resting heart rate has been really high. My HRV, heart rate variability, has been really low. I track all these things. My sleep has been hard. It's been really difficult, and my autonomic nervous system has just been out of whack. And by the third day, I did a whole video on this for my friends and everything. I was actually able to go up the stairs. I had the energy to go up the stairs. I felt for the first time, not that dead weight, can't move, that bone crushing exhaustion that I've been feeling for years, that it's just been getting worse. And the other thing I was able to do 2 days later, this is 4 days into my treatment, is I actually ran. I didn't do a whole mile. I didn't want to stress myself out or whatever, but I used to be a runner, and I've been wanting to get back to running and wanting to get back to exercising, because that's what's really going to handle my HRV in the long run. It's also getting fit again, but I just haven't been able to, and it would actually throw me into tachycardia to try to stress my body. But I actually was able to run and had the energy to run a bit, and I was so happy. I mean, I felt like I had my life back. I mean, it almost makes me a little bit choked up talking about it, because it's been I'm young and healthy, so I still have plenty of life ahead of me. So to have so much going wrong when you're doing everything you can think of to right, and you just cannot get it resolved, to finally understand what's causing this. And there are things you would never suspect, really, like mold. I never really thought about that. Metal, I did get it checked before coming here. I did. And it came up unremarkable, negligible levels. I got it checked a couple times, but I never did the provoked test that you do here. And the provoke test was very revealing. That's what actually showed. And I was like, oh my gosh, it actually is a problem. Because I kept going, well, that's not a problem. I've checked it before. And then viruses. So I did a whole homeopathic handling on viruses. That really helped. And I stopped having constant sinus problems and constant congestion. And I felt so much better just after that. Anyhow, my hormones are also being addressed, which I'm of that age where I'm starting to have hormonal changes, but also this metal find and the molds definitely explain that too. Because again, I am still young, I'm still menstruating, I'm still healthy, but I'm 45, so I'm hitting that premenopause area, if you will. But also fighting with metals and everything else, I understand that that's actually the bigger problem, making things worse. So all in all, I have been recommending LifeWorks and Dr. Minkoff to everybody, to make a long story short. It's worth the investment. It's worth the time. It's worth it to yourself. The other thing I love about the therapies is I thought I was going to be able to work while I was here, and that just didn't happen at all because of the treatments. But to be honest, it's better because you have to disconnect, you have to unplug, and you get a chance to finally relax and just concentrate on healing. And that in itself, I think, was really helpful because I'm one of these people, I'm a business owner, I'm always working, I'm always on the run, you do everything and you never stop working. And I've realized that does not work forever. And you actually do need to invest in yourself. And we're willing to spend a lot of money on cars, we're willing to spend a lot of money on houses. But what's more important, the most thing that is taking care of this body, because that's what you need to be able to really do anything in life. And when you lose your health, you really lose everything. And that was so sobering to me and so real to me when I started getting really sick. And it was, there's nothing more valuable to me than feeling healthy. There's nothing that tastes better to me than feeling healthy. I just really won't ever go back to eating unhealthy or unclean or anything. And I'm definitely going to be taking, I think honestly, coming to LifeWorks as a routine thing in a way, if you can do it, once you're healthy again, I'm going to consider coming back just for a tune-up, just to keep yourself detoxed, just to keep yourself healthy. I'll be doing more saunas for sure. I'm going to be continuing everything I can to detox constantly, because I realize even on a really clean diet, you are still you cannot avoid the fact that there's so many things in the environment trying to kill us. Okay, and I don't mean that as a fear mongering. It's something you just need to recognize. We are in a jungle, and the problem is it's a hidden enemy. You don't realize the enemy is there. You don't realize what's going on. You don't realize you're even being hit with this stuff until you start feeling horrible and you can't figure out why. And I think that's an important thing I want everyone to know is you might feel fine, but gradually this stuff starts accumulating. Like I said, 5 years ago, I was at my best ever. I was healthy, fit as a fiddle. I was strong. I was running. I felt fantastic. It only took 5 years to go from that to go into the ER, literally constantly having episodes of heart tachycardia every week, every month, sometimes multiple times in a day. It was just destroying my life and putting so much stress on me. So I think people need to be aware of this and aware of the fact that we just, in this toxic modern world, it just is what it is. And it doesn't mean you have to be stressed about it. You just need to know that that's what's happening, not make it worse. Be clean in your diet, eat whole foods, make sure you supplement, because there are some supplements you need to take. Watch what's in your supplements, because there are good supplements and there are bad supplements that are going to actually do worse for you. And then detox and use places like LifeWorks to, get rid of toxins and keep your body healthy. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I'm very grateful for Dr. Minkoff and what he's doing. I'm very grateful for the staff here, and I'm very happy that I found this place. And I'm so happy I just was like, okay, I'm doing this, and I did it, and it was worth it.